Hello again, everybody. Miss Anne here. This is mathematics class, of course. Today we are looking at the place value of decimal numbers. The last time we looked at the place value of whole numbers. This time around we're looking at the place value of decimal numbers. So let's begin. So let's first talk about a decimal number. Now, a decimal number consists of whole number and a fraction. So you have the whole number part and you have the fractional part, and they are separated by what we call a decimal point. So when you see a whole number and you see a decimal point that looks like a full stop or a period, that is what you call a decimal number. So we have the example over here. I have 256.4973. So the 256, the part in green is the whole number, and the part in blue is the decimal number part or the fractional part. And then I have the color red dots, and that dot over there is called my decimal point. I want you to pay attention to how I called this number. I said 256.4973. I did not call that number together. I did not say 4,973. Instead, I called them individually. I said 4973. So 256.4973. So if I have 10 numbers behind the decimal point, if I have 10 numbers after my decimal point, I will call each of those 10 numbers one after the other. I won't call them together. So that is how you pronounce or call a decimal number. Okay, so now let's look at the decimal place value charts. So just like the way whole numbers have their place values, decimal numbers also have place values. Okay, so we have a number here. We have 1,239,465.724. 1,239,465.724. Now, each of these digits have their names based on the position that they occupy. So let's start with the whole number part. The whole number part is the part that comes before your decimal point. So we have the smallest position or the smallest place value, which is ones. So in the ones place, I have 5. In the tens place, I have 6, and that is 6 times 10, which is what? 60. In the hundreds place, I have 4, which is 4 times 100, 400. In the thousands place, I have 9, which is 9 times 1,000, that is 9,000. In the 10,000s place, I have 3, which is 3 times 10,000, that gives you 30,000. In the 100,000s place, I have 2. That is 2 times 100,000, that gives me 200,000. And finally, in the millions place, I have 1. So 1 times 1,000,000 gives me 1,000,000. So that is my whole number part. Now for the decimal number part, this is the part that comes after your decimal points. So after ones, I have decimal points, and the lowest or smallest place value position is the tenths. So tenths is different from tenths. When it comes to the decimal number part, you just add THS behind every spelling, okay? But for your whole number part, you're just adding S. So you have 100, then add S, that is hundreds. So but for your decimal number part, you add THS, and that is tenths. So we don't have ones, we don't have units, but we have tenths. So tenths is the smallest position after decimal point. So in my tenth position, I have 7. That is going to be 7 over 10. Okay, and that is 0.7. Then in my hundredth position, I have 2. So 2 all over 100, or 0.02. Then for my thousandth position, I have 4. So 4 over 1,000, or 0.004. So take note, for your whole number part, you multiply. For your decimal number part, you divide. So you say 6 times 10 for whole number part, but for decimal number part, you say 6 over 10. You can say 5 times 1,000 for whole number part, but for decimal number part, you say 5 over 1,000. And that is that about the decimal place value charts. So now let's look at the value of decimal numbers. So we have 205.73196. Remember I told you call it one after the other, don't call it together. So 205.73196. So I have whole number parts and I have decimal number parts. So the decimal number parts comes after that dot called the decimal point. So starting from the whole number part, my smallest position is what? The ones place. And what number do I have in the ones position? I have 5. So remember that 5 times 1 gives me 5. Now in my tens position, I have the 0. So 0 times 10, that gives me 0. And for my hundreds position, I have 2. So 2 times 100 gives me 200. So together for the whole number part, I have 205. Now, getting the value of the decimal numbers, I have 7 in the tenths position. And your decimal numbers are smaller than whole numbers. So I would not say 7 times 1. Instead, 7 times 0.1. And that gives me 0.7 or 7 over 10. Remember I said whole number and fractional part. So you can decide to write it as a decimal number or you can decide to write it as a fraction. So in decimal form I have 0.7. In fractional form I have 7 over 10 for tenths. Now in my hundredths position, I have 3 times 0.01. So for your 100, 100 is 100. So you're going to write it from the back, 0, put points, and then the other 01. You get that? So 3 times 0.01, and that gives me 0.03 or 3 over 100 for your hundredth position. Now for thousandths, I have 1 in that position. So 1 times 0.001. So again, get to your 1000. Start writing from behind. So 0 points, your 00 and 1. So 1 times 0.001, that gives me 0.001 or 1 over 1000. For your 10,000 position, I have 9. So I'm going to have 9 over 10,000 or 0.0009. For 6, which is in the 100,000th position, I'm going to have 6 all over 100,000 or 0.00006. Do we get that? So either you write it as a decimal number or you write it as a fractional number. So again, the place value and the value of decimal number. So I have 24.737. So you can call it the way I'm calling it, like 24.737. Or another decimal number, you can call it and. So you can say 24.737. Or you can say 24 and 737 thousandths. So there are two ways that you can actually call it. So you can call it 24.737, or you can say 24 and 737 thousandths. Are we clear? All right, so starting from the whole number part, in the whole number part, I have 2 and 4, 24. So 4 is in the ones position, and that is 4. 2 is in the tens position, that is 20, so I have 24. Then I now have my decimal number, and I have the tenths position. So the number in the tenths position is 7. That is 7 over 10 or 0.7. The number in my hundredth position, I have 3 in hundredth position. So that's going to be what? 3 over 100 or 0.03. Now for my number in the thousandth position, that is 7. So I'm going to have 7 over 1000 or 0.007. Okay, so you can see that the place value of decimal numbers is very, very simple. So if I say 7 is in the millions position, all I'm going to say is 7 over 1 million or 0.000. You count like that all the way to how many zeros you have in million. So with these examples and this explanation, I want to believe that you understand the place value of decimal. Trust me, it's not much more complicated than whole number. It's simply the same. If you have 7, maybe 77.7, in whole number you have 70, like 7 being 70 and 7 being 7 for your tens and your ones. So 77, that is 70 and 7. Then that point 7, we don't have ones in the decimal points the decimal numbers. We only have tenths. So instead of saying 7, I'm going to say 7 over 10. So when I have 77, I have 70, like 7 and 7 times 10, 70. But for your decimal points or decimal numbers, it's going to be 7 over 10, not 7 times 10. So you have multiplication in your whole number side and you have division in your decimal number side. So when you have 4 times 100 to give you 400 for a whole number, in decimal number part, you have 4 over 100 instead of 4 times 100. So you have 4 over 100. So 7 times 1000 for whole number, you now have 7 over 1000 for decimal number. So it's very, very, very simple. So with everything that we have learned so far, I want to believe that you can find the place value of the underlying digits. So again, don't forget that we don't have one to really starts from tenths, hundred, thousand, 10,000, 100,000, millions, and so on like that. So the first number I have is 5.237. 5.234. So my underlying digit there is 4. So find the position that 4 is standing in and write it. So this will be 4 over whatever position that number is. Then we have 784.5281. Underlying digit there is 2. So find out the position of 2 and write 2 over that number. You can write it in the fractional form or you can write it in decimal number form. Just experiments, okay? And then we have 92.73518. My underlying digit over there is 8. So find out the position that 8 is standing in. Then you write it in your fractional form as 8 over that position, or you can decide to write it in your decimal number format. So with that, we have come to the end of today's mathematics class. I hope you're able to learn a thing or two. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to see you in our next class. Bye.